There's a shot of Seneca Lake, the largest of the Finger Lakes. That's the proximity of where Watkins Glen International is in comparison to Seneca Lake, as the cars are gridded on pit road, about ready to take on round number 1. Let's get a closer look, though, at this racetrack, this 2.45-mile road course with Parker Kligerman.
We're here in turn 1 at Watkins Glen doing a track walk. And in F1 or IndyCar, the teams and drivers will walk the track to scout it for changes. Never is this more important than when you have a repave such as we have here. Gone is the wore-out surface and concrete patches, and in a smooth surface that has a lot of speed. And those changes for the drivers start here, right in the center of turn 1, where you'll be in second gear, accelerating towards the S's and into the long back straightaway. As you enter the bottom of the S's, you'll shift up to third and potentially be flat out. But as you come to where I'm standing now, it's a blind exit of the corner where you'll be shifting to fourth into one of the most narrow portions of the racetrack. You'll be coming down the back straightaway at over 170 miles an hour, braking as hard as you can to second gear and entering the bus stop using every inch of those entrance curbs. But as you come to where I am right now, this has become one of the biggest challenges for the drivers. The reason being that the curb is felt to be raised and a little bit more aggressive, and you can see that from where the cars have actually even bottomed out as they come over this curb. That has been very unsettling for the race cars. We're now here on the exit of the carousel, and in years past, you would short shift up to third gear and find yourself with just your left sides a little bit over this exit curb. But now, with the repave and the new profile of this curb and this expanded runoff, the drivers find themselves using every inch of this runoff, as you can see from the tire marks out here. This gives them a massive run onto the straightaway. I'm here on the exit of the last corner and the entrance to pit road. And the challenge here is the speed you'll be carrying through this last corner. Drivers have said that with the repave and the added grip, they're carrying a lot more speed onto the front straightaway. But for drivers that are pitting, it's going to be very tough to get down to pit road speed by the first timing line. It's these challenges that should make this one of the fastest and most exciting races we've ever seen at Watkins Glen.
What a great perspective of the elevation changes, the different nuances of this racetrack that these drivers have to deal with. And as we mentioned just moments ago, it's a green racetrack now because of the rains that came yesterday. All the rubber more or less washed off of this track, so they'll be going onto a green racetrack for the next 25 minutes of this first round.
Yeah, Parker did such a good job of getting down on the racetrack and showing how rough the bumps actually are. The elevation changes here, major elevation changes here. This inner loop, it is a sharp corner. You try to make it as straight as possible, but you know, as we see these cars running over these curbs, they're big, they're tall, and they really upset the car.
Well, that's what makes it so difficult. It's not just being in the right line through the inner loop. It's how do you hit the curbs? How much wheel do you have in it? You see all of this footage of these cars. This is Clint Boyer going straight over that curb, trying to get lined up for the next curb. Look how rough it is. The 48 of Jimmy Johnson. He's going to take all 4 tires to driver right. Basically jumps the curb like a ramp. That's entering the bus stop of the inner loop, trying to make it, as you mentioned, Jeff, as straight as possible. But it's not that easy with these big, rough curbs to go over.
One of the things that impresses me about the inner loop here is the change of speed. They're going over 180 miles an hour at the top of that straightaway, and they'll get down to 90 miles an hour in the middle of that bus loop. So a 90-mile-an-hour change of pace.
Well, and you talk about speed. Well, speed at Watkins Glen is key, and it all starts right here in turn 2, coming up the S's. After you barrel off into turn 1, accelerate out of turn 1, one of the slowest corners on the racetrack, probably the slowest corner on the racetrack, then it's basically how much throttle can you commit to up the S's. You have to get out of the gas for turn 2, but then the middle S, the top S, and onto that long back straightaway, as you mentioned, Rick, over 180 miles an hour. All that speed is generated all the way down here at the bottom of the hill. And
one little lift of the throttle, when somebody else doesn't have to lift the throttle, that multiplies itself over the length of the long back straightaway. So that back straightaway speed, if you roll through those S's, it really, really helps you getting into that inner loop.
One of the other things that we heard yesterday, Kyle Larson in Xfinity Series qualifying referenced the fact he was excited to be able to come over to the Xfinity Series qualifying and that car because not as quick as the Cup cars. There's so much more horsepower in these Cup cars. These guys are really pushing it on every single turn, every straightaway.
Yeah, these Cup cars, they're heavy. They're way high horsepower. I mean, these are a beast, and they are very difficult to get around this racetrack. You have to just drive them. You have to manhandle them and get everything out of it you can.
And remember, the last time they were on the track, yesterday afternoon for practice, the rains came, a totally different track. Watch every Sprint Cup Series race with the NBC Sports app. Get closer with additional camera angles, driver stats, and track information. It's available on mobile, tablet, and connected TVs. Download the app. Find out more at NBCSports.com/live. Take a look at the rules for qualifying from Watkins Glen. Just 2 rounds. The first round, the fastest 12 will advance to round 2. They have 25 minutes, and we expect to see more than one run out of most of the teams. Only a few will feel locked in to that second round. The second round will then set the top 12, including the pole winner. The track record at this racetrack, 68.113 seconds, and that could be in jeopardy today. We saw some 69-second laps yesterday in practice, although a green racetrack will make for a change in this first round. Green flag is out on the first round of qualifying, and everyone getting in line.
Well, and that's one of my big concerns, Rick. Look at the congestion on pit road. Well, Watkins Glen, after you complete your lap in turn 1 and up through the S's, there's just nowhere to get out of somebody else's way. So just yesterday in final practice, we'll see leaving pit road, the 42 of Kyle Larson. He leaves pit road, warms up his tires, kind of takes his time. Tony Stewart leaves behind him. He's ready to go. He doesn't want to take his time. So climbing the hill through the S's, Tony Stewart runs the 42 down. The 42 not up to speed yet. No big deal. Well, then the 14 pulls out to pass the 42 into the inner loop, and the 42 decides to try to outbrake the 14 and continue his lap. So this was just in practice, not even in qualifying. Tony goes over in Tony Stewart style and lets him know his displeasure.
Yeah, I think what adds to this pressure today is that we're going to see the possibility of cars making multiple runs in this first section. With this tire, a lot of times cars go faster the second time out. So if you go out and you're 5th fastest, that may not be enough to sit on. You may have to go make another run. And so as we get late into this session, as people start realizing, oh, I might have to make a run, everybody's going to be trying to get on the track at the same time. So it'll be interesting to watch how the strategy of how many runs you want to make in this first session lays out. Marty?
Well, Jeff, a lot of different strategies down here. Most of these teams completely taped up for this first qualifying lap, but not Tony Stewart and his race team. Mike Bugaravich making the call to leave that car untaped. Just go out, make sort of a half-speed lap here. Not quite full speed for Tony Stewart. Get some heat in the brakes and get some heat in the tires, then come in, tape up, completely cool down the car, and then make their qualifying run. Steve, a little strategy down here at the first run of the day. You like that strategy for the 14 team?
Yeah, I mean, I like that plan. We've talked about how durable this Goodyear tire is. They have to get some temperature in it to have it really react to how they're wanting. So you have the opportunity in group qualifying to do that.
This is Matt DiBenedetto in the 83. He's the first one on the clock. DiBenedetto, a 25-year-old out of Grass Valley, California. Through the bus stop.
Talked about these curves. You can see how rough they are. They're very high. Cars are going fast when they hit them. So we've seen cars get all 4 tires in the air as they get over the bumps.
And that's a great point, Jeff. I was going to ask Steve, do you build the cars more sturdy because of the fact that you're taking a 3,500 pound car and lifting it completely off the ground?
Well, there's a balance there, Rick. You have to build the cars durable enough to be able to run all 90 laps, but it can't be overkill. It can't be heavy and uncompetitive. So there's that, you have to go to notes. We talk about notes when it comes to setup. It's just not setup. The crew chiefs and teams also have to keep track of notes of how the cars look post-event to understand how durable they'll have to be built to come here.
First lap turned 73 seconds for Matt DiBenedetto. Jamie McMurray puts up a lap of 71.8 seconds. Again, the top 12 will advance. And where do you think the cutoff line will be? Probably in the 69 to 70 second range?
Well, here's the issue. You have Jamie McMurray has run a 71.80, and I saw Jeff look down quickly, and he didn't understand how is that possible because he had run a 69.90 yesterday. So that is
over a second, or over a second.
Almost 2 seconds slower.
Yeah, the 71, the lap he just ran would have been 37th yesterday. So we talked about this track and the rain and the impact of that, and I think right there we're seeing it. We also see Danica Patrick, Reagan, all those guys ran slower.
David Reagan
than what they ran yesterday.
Right, second fastest. Danica Patrick third.
I think it's going to be a frustrating session because with 21 minutes left, I know teams are out there trying to work on their cars, but they're also getting heat into their tires, into their brakes, as Marty mentioned, the 4 with that unique strategy. But I don't think we're going to have any idea what it's going to take to make the top 12 until about the last 4 or 5 minutes, because everyone's going to continue to go faster.
Yeah, and in addition to the tire going faster, the more times you run it, the more times you cycle it, the racetrack's going to be the same way. So this is going to force these teams to try to make as many runs as possible. So potentially these guys that are sitting here waiting to go, that potentially could hurt them. Because these guys, the later you run with another set of cycle tires, you could run faster with a minute left to go in the session. So pressure's going to build on this decision-making process.
Brad Keselowski goes to the top of the chart with a 71.20. Matt Kenseth in the green compared to Keselowski. The strategy that Tony Stewart and his team have employed, going out on the track, not actually taking the green, but going all the way around. Now they're going to tape up the front. They've put some heat in the tires, some heat in the brakes. Good strategy. We've only seen Tony do that so far.
Well, time will tell, but I like the strategy. I like the fact that if you know that your car is going to run faster later, why put the heat in the engine? Make it so you can cool down quicker. Make it so that you can get back on the racetrack at a quicker pace. Now, Keselowski, he's running 2 laps. So what he's done is they've decided to, on the same run, go make 2 laps, and you can see he's faster the second lap than he was his first lap.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, I like the strategy that the 14 played, but I don't know if 1 lap is enough. I think even Brad Keselowski, if he ran a 3rd lap, if he had enough grill tape open to run a 3rd lap, see, he's not going to finish that lap. He just ran hard all the way around to get heat into his equipment, and he was already faster than Matt Kenseth. I think these teams have a lot of confidence. They're going to run. We see 71.09 right now. I expect by the end of this practice for the fast time to be in the 69-second range. That's almost over a second faster.
Dave Burns.
Some of the decision-making, Rick, was on whether you run tires, and nice catch there through the carousel for Denny Hamlin. Whether you run tires that have been run a cycle or you run brand new tires. Denny's car was best in race trim in practice 1 on brand new tires. So that's what they chose to go with for the 11 car. We'll see if it pays off. He's in the green.
He's got a good run going, coming to the start-finish line. See if he can get turn 7 the way he needs to get it. Lost a little bit in 6. Gave up a little speed getting into 7, but he's making it back up on corner exit. Yeah, I find it really interesting. We're talking about all these strategies, but the team that was second fastest yesterday, Martin Truex Jr., he just got in his car. They had
Hadn't put his helmet on yet.
Yeah, they had absolutely no intention of going out early. We'll be interested to see how that plays out for them.
Well, the other thing you have to remember is you have to make a clean lap. You're not going to run fast running in traffic. And with only 13 cars to have made a lap, we see A.J. Allmendinger right here coming to, it looks like just starting his lap. He's basically about even with Denny Hamlin right here. You know, you have to make laps and you have to make clean laps, and it's going to be very difficult at the end of this qualifying session.
Once again,
big wiggle there.
Wow, that's going to really cost him time down the back straightaway. See the Tigger just continuing going backwards. That's only going to get worse the longer he goes down the straightaway. One bad move in the S's, and it just kills the entire back straightaway. See if he can make it up in the inner loop. This is where he's been so fast all weekend.
And the theory for a lot of race teams, guys, was that scuff tires, as Dave was mentioning a moment ago, scuff tires might be better, and actually the 47 team would love to have a set of scuff tires, but all they had was a set of sticker tires. They never got time yesterday to run in a set of tires, so he went with stickers on this run, thinking it might get faster as they go along. He's back in the green right now, and as far as Martin Truex Jr. and his team, Cole Pern feels like the track's just going to get better as the session goes along. What you were mentioning, Steve, so they're waiting until the track gets better to send him out.
So interesting, because Cole Pern's philosophy is we wait, go out there, and maybe make 1 run, potentially 2, where Tony Stewart has gone out, warmed his equipment up, and then he's going to go out for an actual run and still have the opportunity to go out for a 3rd time.
Rick, well, I think we have to put this in perspective for the fans. A.J. Allmendinger, top of the board at a 70.89. Yesterday, he was the fastest in practice at a 69.14. So that is basically 1.6 seconds slower than Rick. We're talking almost 2 seconds off the pace from yesterday in practice. There's no way this track doesn't continue to find speed. And we talk about finding speed, Jeff, this 5 of Casey Kane needs something to turn around here at Watkins Glen.
He had a really good S's, got up through the S's really, really well. This team did not get a lot of practice since they had some mechanical problems. You got more, Dave?
Well, Jeff, it was mainly a vibration in the car that they chased and finally tracked down, and they got it better for Casey, but it was that lost practice time that they needed so badly, and as close to the chase bubble, standings bubble as he is, they needed that time.
And lost a lot of time in the bus stop.
And this we're comparing against Allmendinger right now, and Allmendinger all weekend has been really good through the bus stop, the long right hand of the carousel. This left-hander, we saw Allmendinger, he made most of his time up in this left-hander and in turn 7 this right-hander. So Casey Kane a little bit off pace, but most of it was in the inner loop in the back half of the racetrack.
And equipment's important. I don't want to discount equipment. But when it comes to the inner loop, you have to have a car that does what you want to do. But as a driver, Jeff, I really believe that's the area of the racetrack that the driver has the most effect, is through the bus stop. How he hits those curves. We saw the slow motion shots where the tires are off the ground. Right. They're not gripping the ground. How the driver gets through the inner loop can change everything.
Pointing the car as they enter and where they're headed through. And we're hearing the caution has come out now. There is some debris in the inner loop.
Oh, Rick, that's just going to make the lap even more crowded. You see right here, Paul Menard on a decent lap turns into the first right-hander entering the inner loop, catches that curb, and then just way out of position, never even close to making the corner. You know, we talk about how fast this racetrack is and how much you have to attack it. That's how easy it is. I mean, he missed perhaps his braking mark or perhaps his speed by just a few miles an hour, and that's all it takes. That car is not going to change direction like he needs.
And limited amount of time, obviously, in this session as the clock is on hold at 15:19 so they can clean the track up.
And Rick, we've only had 17 cars run.
Right.
10 minutes are gone, and we only have 17 cars left. I'm telling you, the last 3 and 4 minutes of this practice is going to be crazy because we're going to try to have 15 or 20 cars on a road course. There are going to be drivers in other drivers' way. There's going to be some disappointed race teams. It's going to get very hectic here as the time runs down.
Yeah, chaotic with all of the cars trying to get out onto the track, but yet have an open track for them to do the best they can to get a good lap.
Yeah, because remember, this isn't like an oval where the spotter can stand on top of the stands and see the whole facility. Why there are spotters up on top of the front stretch, and they can see cars down the front stretch and into turn 1. They can't see all of the S's. They can't see the back half of the race course. So, you know, it's really up to the driver. The driver's going to have to really pay attention in his mirrors to not get in other people's way.
We're talking about the inner loop and how difficult it is. Watch Paul Menard behind the 5 car. As he brakes, watch the car. See it wiggle right there. It turns to the left, turns to the right. That's under braking. So he's got a little bit of problem way before he got to the inner loop. So that messed his rhythm up. That messed everything up in getting to the inner loop. I know that looked like a small thing, but he's probably carrying too much speed to make this second part of the inner loop. So the problem happened way on the straightaway. It ended up happening, you know, what we saw, the net result was him spinning in the inner loop, but the problem happened in his braking zone.
How late do you brake when you come into the inner loop of the bus stop?
So there's markers back there. There's a stoplight, caution light, and then there's numbers behind that. You try to get just past that caution light. But again, we just talked about the pace being almost 2 seconds off. Now where's your braking zone? Your braking zone is based off of yesterday, but the track doesn't have the grip to brake there. Very difficult to make that decision.
They're going to clean the track. We'll take a quick break. Be right back. Marcus Lemonis has invested over $35 million to save small businesses. And this season, the numbers will continue to grow. The profit returns Tuesday, August 23rd at 10 p.m. only on CNBC. Now for an update from the garage, let's go to Marty Snyder.
Rick, as we wait out this red flag, it's interesting, the strategy that's going on down here. I just checked in with Cole Pern, the crew chief for Martin Truex Jr., and he said he's going to wait as long as he can. He told me, obviously, there's more than half of the cars to go, as Steve just told us a moment ago. He's going to wait for the bulk of that group to go, and he's going to go on the back end of that. So putting a lot of chance there on just one lap today. And then you have the other side of the group. They've gone to the front of this line. They're going to go out right now trying to avoid that massive group and get out as soon as they can. The risk there is that the inner loop may not be cleaned up exactly the way they want it to be. So you'll see a lot of teams maybe pull over to the side like Jeff Gordon and his race team in the 88 car. So some dueling strategies going on down here. The 78 team going to wait as long as they can before they send Martin Truex Jr. out.
And Rick, I agree with Cole Pern. that the track will be the fastest at the finish. I just don't feel that forcing the 78 Martin Truex Jr. to do it on one lap and only have one attempt is a good gamble, because we've talked about traffic, we talked about issues around the racetrack. We just got to caution. What happens if he goes out and in the middle of his lap the caution comes out? He doesn't get of no doing of his own.
Right.
He can't finish his lap. That could eliminate him. I think the smarter move would be go out with 15 minutes here left, get a lap on the board, even if it's not the best lap, then come in, tape up, cool down, and have a plan for the final run of this first session.
So they're still waiting 2 by 2 till the track is clear so that they can go back out on the track. The gentleman who has turned in the fastest time up to this point is A.J. Allmendinger. Here's what he had to say on the radio just moments ago.
The S's were the worst for sure. It's just slick, man. I mean, it's just like your typical repave, you know, just kind of sliding around for grip. But the S's were pretty bad.
And we saw that. We saw him get loose through the S's.
Oh, yeah, we definitely did. And that's, you know, when you're a driver and you know the pace is off almost 2 seconds, it's hard to know where your lift points are, where to go on the throttle, how much, you know, how aggressive you can attack the racetrack. So watch him as he makes that right-hander. See how free he got right there? Well, that slowed the momentum down all the way up to here, and look how free he is there. Now, he still was the fastest,
right,
but he made most of his time up on the back half of the straightaway. And when you're a second, 1.7 seconds off from where you were yesterday, for a driver, that feels like 10 seconds. It feels like an awful lap. And that is significant because that directly is in relation to the condition of the racetrack.
Dave Burns.
Rick, the 23 of David Reagan is on the bubble right now. So for BK Racing, he's going to take another lap. He knows he's going to get moved out of there anyway, but he was also not particularly happy with that race car in the first run. Much to Allmendinger's point, very skatey out there, but they were also working off of brand new tires. So they didn't get a chance to scuff those yesterday. That was sort of a scuffing lap. They tightened the car up a little bit, and they're going to let David go at it again.
And David Reagan's starting position will be looked at very closely by Chris Buescher, because Chris Buescher, after winning last week, has to get into the top 30 in the points. So really right now he's racing against David Reagan, who is currently in that 30th spot.
So keep in mind, all these drivers now know what the pace of the racetrack is. They now know it's almost 2 seconds off, and they get to adjust their strategy a little bit. They know they can't attack the way that the guys that first went on the racetrack did attack.
You know, another issue is the teams that ran early. We talk about the time to cool your car. Well, while we sat here under caution, their cars were on pit road cooling. We were under red for 7 minutes. That's 7 extra minutes to cool their engines that they got really penalty free because the clock wasn't running.
You see Carl Edwards got up through the S's. Really good. We're now comparing his speed to Reagan, who's in 12th.
And that's really because, Jeff, as we point out, remember, as much as we keep talking, we're not going to set the pole right here in this first round. We're just going to set the top 12, but we're going to go from 40 all the way to 12. That's a big cut with only 2 rounds, unlike at some of the ovals where we have 3 rounds.
And David Reagan obviously was out on the track because he knew that 12th place run wasn't going to stay there. And we can see clearly as the 4 cars right now that are on the clock are at least 2 seconds, some a second, and 1.7 seconds, 1.8 seconds now difference. So Reagan will continue to drop when these 4 cars come across the start-finish line. And Edwards fastest, Stewart, Kurt Busch, all posting better times than Allmendinger. So the track is definitely speeding up now.
It's a combination of things. Track's getting better, it's more rubber, but also, again, these drivers and the teams know what the track is. So you can make air pressure adjustments. You can make driver adjustments knowing the pace of the racetrack.
So just under 12.5 minutes remaining in round number 1. Just under the halfway point of this session. And Carl Edwards has now the fastest time at 70.4 seconds. We're hearing Kyle Busch get completely out of the gas as he goes up the hill to the bus stop.
And here's the issue, you know, you're running out of time with these cars that are cooling down. Look at Ryan Newman come into the inner loop here, hits that inside curb, has the big free moment, misses that interior curb that he wanted to be on, so he has to find some space anywhere. He was, what, 2 feet into the dirt.
And he confessed that to his team, guys. I totally missed the bus stop where the lap would have been a lot better, obviously.
Danica Patrick was in the green, now in the red. In comparison to 12th, again, Ryan Newman now on the cut line.
And you hate making a mistake as a driver, but the great thing about this format is you get to try it again. There's enough time to get in, cool the thing down, and go make that run again. So road course racing is much easier to make a mistake. It gives you an opportunity for 2 tries at it.
But Rick, look at all the cars Danica Patrick's having to deal with right there. She's to the inside of the racetrack. We have, what, 4 cars right there in the straightaway, 2 slowing down. David Reagan's off the pace, and you got Greg Biffle in the 16 trying to make a lap. He's caught the 3.
Too wide.
I mean, look at the mess we have already. Even with 10 minutes left, it's busy.
And once again, quite a few drivers haven't even taken their first lap in qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, that right there killed Greg Biffle's lap. He had to come in. There was no reason to complete that lap.
Drivers like Jeff Gordon, Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr. still have yet to even put up a lap.
McMurray on his 2nd time out on the racetrack moved up to 4th.
Kurt Busch ran 2 laps when he was out on the track, and the 6th quickest.
So you heard McMurray shut it off. Won't surprise me one bit, even though he's in 4th right now. That probably won't be good enough. So 88 car locking the right front up, getting into 1.
Jeff Gordon's first run. Kevin Harvick also on his first run. And again, relating to 12th, which now is Ryan Blaney.
The last 3 minutes this session is going to be crazy. Everybody's going to be trying to be on the racetrack at the same time.
Well, because if you're not, I agree with what Cole Pearn was saying. The track's only going to get faster. So if you're not on the racetrack, I don't see how you're going to end up in the top 12 as the track picks up speed.
Trying to stay out of the way. Jeff Gordon continuing on, but coming into 6th. There's quite a few cars up in front of him, and that congestion could definitely slow this lap down.
Yeah, with only 600s, or right now about a 10th over the current 12th place car. That can't have you feeling good when you look at Kevin Harvick, 2 tenths, Larson 8 tenths over 12th. I don't think the 88, while this might move them into the top 12, this is not the lap they're going to be looking for. I don't believe this will stay in the top 12 as cars continue to run. It's going to put him in the 9th position, but then Harvick beats it, moves to the 10th. Larson to the top of the board at a 1:10.27, Rick.
So Larson drops Gordon down to the cut line, with Casey Mears also dropping him down. And Kyle Larson actually took 2 laps to get that speed.
And Rick, we talked about this in Top Show. How about Micah McDowell in the 95, currently 6th? I'm not sure that lap is going to be good enough as the track picks up, but a great lap so far.
Marty, 22, looks like he's on a good run.
He's on his first run of the day, and you see top of your screen about 8:30 left in this session. So if you run right now, you probably can get back to pit road and cool the car down. It's going to be tight, but you can do it. So the 78 still sitting here. So they truly are counting on 1 run for the 78. Meanwhile, Joey Logano looking good right now to get inside the top 12 easily.
Not only top 12, but might be the first one to break into the 69-second mark. Coming off of 7, he's got the momentum. Let's see if he can get down below 69 seconds or into the 69-second mark. He does. 69.88.
69.88.
Now Jimmy Johnson on the clock. Through the bus loop. Bus stop, inner loop, and combine the 2.
I call it interlude. I call it interlude. He calls it bus stop.
Yeah.
So you hit the middle. I like it.
Pick them both. You see Brian Scott crossing over. I mean, getting out of the way is not as easy as it sounds. Jimmy Johnson's on a good lap, and behind him, just up behind him on the straightaway, is Chase Elliott, his teammate.
Both in the green, but for how long? That's the question. As Cole Witt sits on the cut line. But as these 2 are going faster, that'll drop Cole Witt and more than likely Kevin Harvick out of that top 12.
This is going to be
Johnson goes 7.
a huge shuffle. Normally we would adjust the run on the left side of the screen, Rick, but I don't know if anybody outside the top 3 are safe.
7 minutes to go, Dave.
And Greg Biffle sits on pit road now. After that aborted lap, didn't go too crazy about that. Knew he needed an adjustment on the race car. He had to get the back end tightened up. So stopping was okay for him, make an adjustment. And oh, by the way, cloud cover is covering the Watkins Glen International right now, and that can be a benefit as well.
And cloud cover will most likely help the racetrack, just get a little bit of grip. One thing to remember, if you do want to make a second run at this racetrack, it takes a long time to get back to pit road. So not only after you get the car cooled down does it take a long time to get to the start-finish line, it also takes you a long time to get back to pit road to get the car cooled down. So you have to give yourself more time here than every other racetrack.
Allmendinger, realizing that he's on that bubble right now, right at the cutoff line, decides to go back out and running quite a bit faster than what he ran on his first run.
And you talked about that time, Jeff. That's my concern for that 48-24 that we just saw Matt Kenseth go by on their cooldown laps. I don't believe with 6 minutes left, they're going to get back on the racetrack.
Kenseth a half a second better than what Allmendinger had run prior. Allmendinger on a good lap, though, as he's about to finish his lap as he comes out of 7 and right up against the wall.
Matt Kenseth, that was his second time out on the racetrack, moved up to second. Allmendinger second. Marty.
You see Martin Truex Jr.'s moved down to the end of pit road where he's going to sit. When a couple of these guys finish their lap, he's then going to go. And this is not a decision on Cole Pearn's behalf. You see Truex leaving now. Based on the clock up there, it's more the traffic on the racetrack. You've talked about it all session long, guys. That's the key. That's when they sent the 78, trying to get there when this 5 finishes the lap right now.
Casey Kane was in the green until he came out of 7. A huge bobble out of 7, and he goes down to the red.
Even with 5 minutes left, Rick, I'm not sure that Tony Stewart or Kyle Busch are safe. As we see right here what happened to the 5 of Casey Kane. Such a tough right-hander. A big slide right up close to the barrier. Had no choice but to get out of the throttle. Hurt his lap time. But as I was saying, I'm not sure all the way up to maybe Tony Stewart in 7th, Jamie McMurray in 8th. I'm not sure they're safe in the top 12.
And the report from Marty about how you get on the racetrack, that's really important because the spotter, that's his job. The spotter has to tell the driver when to go and when, how hard do you want to go? There's a strategy of leaving pit road hard versus going down the back straightaway and not picking up speed to come to the start-finish line. If that's the strategy, then the spotter has to really work you into the flow of traffic so you don't mess your lap up or someone else's.
Denny Hamlin's currently in the 18th spot as he's on a good lap now. Almost a half a second better than what Kurt Busch has turned.
Rick, a really nice interlude. He got through there smooth, used all the curbing, gained a little bit of time on Kurt Busch.
Hamlin into 6, staying right about that half-second mark, faster than 12th. The goal for these drivers, get into the top 12, make it into round 2. But as the time runs down, under 4 minutes to go, Denny Hamlin up to 5th at a 70.331. Will that stay in the top 12?
And he was in 18th, so he went all the way from 18th to 5th.
We see Truex's left pit road. He's out here on his lap, currently trending outside of the 12th position. We'll see how this one-lap strategy pays off for the 78 team. Right now, it's really close, Rick, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Even if he gets in by a 10th or so, he's going to have to find some speed down here in 6 and 7.
Possibly could he run 2 laps? We've seen a couple teams run 2 laps, but with the strategy they played, I would be surprised they've left enough tape open to be able to run 2 laps.
I just don't think. I think it comes down to temperature in the tires. I think the 78, you see his movement there off turn 7, the car not handling like he wants. He's going to end up in the top 12, but we'll see if it's going to be enough. Currently 11th with 2.5 minutes or 2 minutes left, 3 minutes left. I don't believe that's going to be enough, Jeff.
We're for P11 right now, but let's hustle back.
You're not going to have time to hustle back. It's never going to happen.
Back is the problem.
Remember, all these green marks that you see next to a driver's name, that means they're on the racetrack right now.
A little bit of a bobble.
Now he got blocked.
Look at this. Yep.
Yeah, that's.
So listen, Stenhouse was in the 78's way coming out, and then it looked like maybe he returned the favor to the 17 when he was coming up through the S's.
But you talked about it. That's the risk in waiting this late to go. It's a road course. All these kind of things happen. It's not uncommon to get blocked on a road course. So when you wait and you put all your eggs in that one basket, one little thing happens, and you find yourself potentially out of the top 12.
Yeah, so the 17 got in the 78's way in his laps. You see right here, the 78, he knows the 17's coming, and he made sure he disrupted the 17's lap about the same amount.
And the 17, who was 3rd quickest overall, is now going to have to get out another lap if he can. How about Michael McDowell?
Well, the 78's not going to make another lap with 1:45 left. He's completely done. But Michael McDowell passes the 78 here. Like you said, Rick, a great lap all the way up. He's going to be easily in the top 12 as we see Keselowski jump to second.
Keselowski goes to second. McDowell 5th quickest on that qualifying run.
What a great lap.
And so many times we mentioned, okay, equipment versus driver. That one, driver. High percentage of talent behind the wheel for Michael McDowell putting up that good lap.
Such a good road racer. See, Kevin Harvick's got to find a little speed in 6 and 7. Right now, he's only showing in 19th. Got some right there. See if he can carry it off to 7.
About a little bit under a minute to go in this first round. Harvick, is he going to get there? Going the wrong direction. Can he find speed at the end? Kevin Harvick, 14th quickest, doesn't get into the top 12.
Rick, there's a couple cars leaving pit road. I'm not sure why they're trying. There's no way they're going to come back around and get a green flag. Martin Truex Jr. was one of them. Well, it's too late. They've made their bed. It's not going to work. They're not going to transfer. But Kurt Busch still has a couple corners to find some speed.
Saw Keselowski all the way off the racetrack, making sure he did not get in the way of Kurt Busch. Nice move.
But Kurt Busch, not enough speed as he comes through 7. 0.3 of a second off of 12.
Truex with 7 seconds left, 6, 5. He's not going to come back to start his lap. But you look down at the tracker. We have McMurray currently in the green. Kyle Busch currently in the green, who's 10th. He's on a lap just in case everybody went faster.
Yeah, McMurray is in 12th. He's safe right now. But if somebody beats him, knocks him down, then he needs to picks up pace. But see, Jimmy Johnson's not showing the ability right now. Jeff Gordon's not showing either. But you have to finish this lap. You have to assume that they're going to go faster than you.
Yeah, because the 48 is trending that way. Only 4 100s. He's so close to the green. If he gets there, McMurray's going to have to outrun Jimmy Johnson.
Look at how close McMurray and Kyle Busch are right now, running almost the same lap times, and that's to find out who would be in 12th. McMurray actually doing better now than Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Kyle Busch finished his lap, came in at 8th. Jamie McMurray looks like he's going to move way up the board.
And red and black flags displayed. Jamie McMurray all the way up to 4th on that last lap.
On his 5th lap.
Yeah.
His 5th lap.
Finishing the lap, Carl Edwards. So an interesting completion of round number 1 after a red flag in the middle to clean up the bus stop area. Joey Logano using 1 lap turned the fastest time. Jamie McMurray taking 5 laps was 5th fastest in that qualifying session. Jimmy Johnson was on the clock. His time would have counted, but this happens.
We keep talking about the inner loop and how difficult it is, and you see right here, he just gets in so deep, Jeff. There's no way he's going to make it back to the right in the position he wants to be. He's out of shape exiting the inner loop and has that high entrance into the carousel. But how about this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Martin Truex Jr. has got to be disappointed. So much speed in practice. Ends up 14th. Isn't going to transfer to round 2, Rick.
You said a lot of guys would be disappointed. I'm sure one of them will be the driver of the 78. Interesting round 1. Qualifying on a green track. Speeds not anywhere near what they were yesterday in practice because of rain from last night, washing all the rubber off of the racetrack. And so this qualifying session definitely has become very interesting as we look at the drivers that don't advance into round 2. Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick. Big names on this list that didn't get into the top 12.
Well, it's not just this page. When we go to the second page, Rick, you want to talk about a disappointment. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., we talked about him at the top of the show, not having maybe the speed, not being known as a road course driver. Well, he showed speed, 3rd quick in practice, had that issue with the 78 on the racetrack all the way back in 30th.
All the way back down to 40th. The drivers that did not advance. What was interesting to me on that second page was Chris Buescher and David Reagan. qualified 25th and 26th. So Chris Buescher trying to get into the top 30. David Reagan has that spot right now.
That's how it always works. But we talked about traffic and we talked about not being able to get out of people's way. We're right here. The 78 is on a lap. The 17 leaves pit road. He hurts the 78 speed up through the S's. So the 78 returns the favor. Now the 78 is on a cool down lap. The 17 is at speed up through the S's. The 78 tries to make another run. They went with the strategy of one run. They didn't have enough time for a second run. That strategy and the traffic on the racetrack has eliminated Martin Truex Jr. from making it to round 2.
So we'll hear from some of the drivers when we come back before we get underway with round number 2. These drivers advancing into round number 2. Joey Logano did it on 1 lap. Jamie McMurray, it took him 5 laps to get up to 5th quickest. Michael McDowell will also have a shot at the pole as we get ready for round 2. One of the names missing from this list is Martin Truex Jr. He was with Marty.
Well, Martin, I guess that's the peril of trying to do it in one run, in 1 lap. What happened from your perspective?
There's nothing wrong with trying to do it in 1 run if people on the racetrack are paying attention to what's going on. So you have somebody just, pull out in the pits and sees you coming, literally. I don't understand what the 16 was thinking. He was just leaving pit road. He was in no hurry to get anywhere. He didn't.
17, by the way.
Or I'm sorry, 17. Yeah, that's what I meant. 17. Yeah, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why he would have done what he did, except for the fact that he just wasn't paying attention. So it's a shame. We still almost made the second round. Yeah. I don't know what you can do about it. Our car's fabulous, and the guys have done a great job all weekend. And it's certainly going to be hard to win from there, but it's possible, and we won't give up till the race is over.
It's always tough when these things happen, especially in the motorhome lot like this. How do you handle it moving forward with them?
Yeah, I don't know what the right thing is to do. Obviously, it's just when you get to this level, you should be able to know what's going on around you and be able to pay attention to other cars. So I'm a little frustrated about that part of it, especially when, he was just leaving the pits. It's not like he was on his lap. We've got spotters. He should have known there was a car coming on their lap. And really, as close as I got to him before we even got to the S's, he should have seen me and just checked up and let me go on around the outside of him and not cost me a half a second, maybe only cost me a 10th or 2.
They had a very fast car all weekend long, but not the result in qualifying Martin Truex Jr. wanted.
Yeah, listen, Martin Truex has every reason to be upset. The spotters should be able to do a job to get people on the racetrack, and the driver should be paying attention to get out of the way. But you have to assume sometimes that things like this could happen.
Well, that's the thing. I think he's absolutely right, but the risk is real. This isn't the first car we've seen run into traffic, so it could have just as easily been a caution. I understand his frustration. He has every chance to be frustrated, but I do think he can win from 14th. I don't believe that takes him out of the chance for a victory.
Gorgeous Seneca Lake here in the Finger Lake area of New York as we get ready for round number 2. Sprint Cup Series qualifying continuing. Who will win the pole? Joey Logano was fastest in round 1. Can he back it up in round 2?
We just saw that 95 roll off, and Michael McDowell doing a great job advancing that smaller team all the way into round 2, Rick.
There's enough time, don't you think, Steve, to make, if you go early, enough time to go and make a run and then come in, cool down, and make another run. So I think that's a strategy you see. Like with McDowell, he's going ahead and making a run right now. Why not? Go ahead and hit the racetrack, and if tires don't slow down, why not give yourself 2 shots at it?
Well, we know there's enough time because yesterday in Xfinity qualifying, that's just what teams did. The majority of teams put in 2 runs in 10 minutes.
Could Michael McDowell win the pole?
Absolutely.
Michael McDowell is definitely an underfunded team out on the racetrack, and we've seen incredible talent behind the wheel. But is there a possibility that he could upset these major teams and win the pole?
It would be a major upset. I'm certainly not going to sit here and say he won't. The odds are against it, but it would be a major upset. He has the ability, no doubt in my mind, he has the ability to lay a lap time down and drive the car. The question is this car capable of beating the guys that he has to beat?
And guys, remember, we always talk about the smaller teams and the disadvantages they have, but Michael McDowell and his team tested here last week, so they've got a lot of laps here at Watkins Glen, and we all know how good he is at road course racing. So they ran several qualifying runs in that test session trying to get ready for today, so they're more prepared probably this weekend than they've been all year long for a qualifying session. So I would say, yes, Michael McDowell can win the pole. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Marty, there's two different ways to think about tests. You go test where you're not good, but sometimes you also want to go test where you're very good to take advantage of those strengths and to try to get the most out of it. So a team like this coming here makes a lot of sense. We saw it with Allmendinger, where they put all their eggs in that basket a couple years ago to get themselves in the chase. So I like the strategy.
Yeah, JTG Doherty Racing decided that they would do all of their testing on road courses because they knew that A.J. Allmendinger, that would be his best opportunity to get into the chase. It worked. It paid off for them.
Well, we don't have a lap time to compare to yet, but I will say this lap by Michael McDowell looks really clean. Looked like he attacked the bus stop, got through. You see a little bit of wiggle there under braking into the left-hander of turn 6. Now he has to get back across the racetrack to make that hard right-hand turn to the front stretch.
This will be what everyone will reference when they do their laps. Michael McDowell, can he go under 70 seconds for his lap? He goes 70.445. So Michael McDowell, 70.445. Allmendinger and Larson look to be faster. 70.2 for Allmendinger. Larson's going to be even better. 69.871 for Larson.
And that lap by A.J. Allmendinger, I was surprised. You know, 70.2, I was a little bit off when he ran in the first session. I expect the lap times to pick up here in the final session.
And now we see two cars close to each other. Logano just in front of Kyle Larson.
Kyle had made his lap and had already slowed down, so that wasn't a case of Logano blocking him. They knew that he'd already slowed down.
No, but I think what you see is Larson hustling it back to pit road. To your point, Jeff, about trying to make a second run. I believe that 42's plan is to make a second run, so he needs to get back to pit road as quick as he can to get cooled down.
Kenseth in the red compared to Larson. Logano on the track as well, though, getting up to speed.
Matt Kenseth may be one of the most improved road racers. We saw early in his career he really struggled, did not like coming to road races, did not run well on them at all. And over the last 3 or 4 years, he's become very good at it. He hasn't found a way to lead a bunch of laps or win races yet, but he has definitely improved his skills.
Strong through the bus stop, making up some ground. Still about a 0.2 of a second off as Logano has taken the green. Logano was fastest in round number 1. Can he back that up in round 2?
Got through that part of the racetrack really, really well.
Allmendinger's made it back to pit road, and they begin to cool that car off with the possibility of doing a second run.
Nice turn 6. Really got turn 6 where he gave a lot of it up getting into 7.
Gets it close. He goes to second quickest behind Larson.
Good lap.
Logano closing in on the green. Under a 1/10 of a second off, and now into the green. He comes out of the carousel and heads towards 6. Can he hold on to it? Can he stay in the green? Loses a bit there, breaking into 6. Coming out of 7, a little more lost to what Kyle Larson has posted.
Rick, both Logano and the 20 of Matt Kenseth lost time to Larson through 6 and 7. That tells me that that 42 car of Larson really got through those final 2 corners well.
Now, or the 18 will come out onto the track, getting up to speed as he follows the 22 through the S's. 22 just completed his lap. Dave.
Kyle Larson sits on pit road cooling down that 42. They analyzed his lap from the spotter stand, telling him that's about as best as he's gotten through turn 1 all weekend long. And then Kyle coming back and saying, my time was lost in the S's. So if he needs to go again, they've just got under 4 minutes now, Rick, to get it done.
And we've seen they have to leave pit road with about 90 seconds to go. If they want to make it all the way back around to get to the start line, around 90 seconds is safe. If they get a little bit closer, they'll be stretching it to get to the start line before the clock runs out.
Kyle Busch taking the green flag.
So with under 4 minutes left, this will be the only lap that Kyle Busch, the only run. He may run more than one lap, but this will be his only attempt on the racetrack in this session.
Love his shot. So he put it in second gear. He's now going to go to third right here. Now he won't shift until he gets all the way up to the top of the S's. You want to not be in fourth to get up to the S's. You don't want to shift while you're making those corners.
Does it right on that last right-hander as he goes down the back stretch.
As he approaches the inner loop, heavy braking, third gear, second gear. We'll carry second gear all the way through the inner loop. Carry it through the long chicane here. Carousel. Try and get a little bit free.
His exit of the carousel has definitely helped his lap time, though.
Got all the way into fourth gear, getting into sixth. We haven't seen a lot of that.
And back to second. He'll run second all the way out the right-hander. Coming to the start-finish line, he'll go to third.
It's going to be close. About a 1/10 of a second. Kyle Busch goes third quickest on that lap. Denny Hamlin was flirting with the pole. As he goes through the bus stop, how well will he do here? Losing a little time. It was 2/10 of a second. Now back to a 1/10 of a second.
So they use all that racetrack, jump that curve. The reason they do that is because if you went below that curve, you wouldn't have the speed through the long right-hander. You try to carry as much speed as you can, and that speed pushes you out past that curve.
Much like everyone we've seen, the left-hander turn 6 loses time to the 42 car. The 42 gets through these last two corners as well or better than everyone.
Carl Edwards was running in the green as Denny Hamlin goes across the stripe in fourth. Carl Edwards back into the green now as he works his way through the long carousel, out past the curb and down into sixth. 2/10 of a second to the good. Loses a little bit of time there, entering sixth. Can he stay in the green? A good lap for Carl Edwards. Coming out of 7. It looks like he's going to be able to do it. Carl Edwards, fastest, 69.689.
9:51 right now.
Tony Stewart, third quickest on his lap. Who will try to make another run? Pit road, pretty much clear. Matt Kenseth, the 18 of Kyle Busch. The only two right now on pit road. As the clock winds down, 35 seconds. Cars are racing to get back to the start-finish line. Kyle Larson's already on the clock.
Yeah, but he got in really deep into turn 1 and lost some time. I don't think he made that corner like he was hoping to, Rick.
You're not going to make up a half a second either. You know, one corner, one mistake in one corner digs such a hole you probably can't dig out of it.
Allmendinger was in the green for a moment. Now, 2/10 of a second off. Larson, a half a second off as he goes through the bus stop. Larson lost most of his speed early, way high through the carousel. Larson knows this isn't his lap.
Wasn't for a lack of trying, I can tell you that. He tried to go pick up some speed, find a little bit in every corner, and you could see he was already at the car's limit when he tried to find more. You know, he ended up offline out of 1, offline off the carousel, just pushing, trying to find more speed.
You see Jamie McMurray trying to run quicker, but if you look at the bottom of that comparison, oh, the 42 has, I don't know if he hit anything, but he definitely spun out off the last corner.
Trying to get onto pit road. Looks like he made the choice after exiting 7 to not even finish his lap and go to pit road. He made that decision late.
Yeah, you saw Allmendinger get all the way out of the way. Joey Logano.
And Logano a half a second off as well. Carl Edwards looking comfortable now with a very impressive lap. Logano, the last one on the clock. Carl Edwards about to climb out of the car. As the final round, round number 2 comes to an end, it will be Carl Edwards who wins the pole and will lead the field to the green flag. He swept both poles on road courses this year. NASCAR Race View gives you access to features that let you follow your favorite driver right as if you're at the track. With live stats, leaderboards, driver team communications, and more on all your devices. It's available now for an all-new low price when you visit NASCAR.com/raceview. Celebrating already, Carl Edwards sweeping the road course poles in 2016. He's with Dave.
And if there was a broom nearby, Rick, I'm sure we'd be handing it to Carl right now. But I know what he'd like a whole lot more probably is a victory tomorrow. But let's talk about that pole run, Carl. Did you know it was in you when you hit that lap?
No, I wasn't sure. You know, the track is a little strange. It started out really slippery the first run, but just really proud of my guys. Everybody on the Stanley Toyota team. You know, Dave Wilson from TRD just came down. They're a huge part of this. My teammates, they're really fast tomorrow. Kyle's really fast, and Martin's really fast. So we've got to work a little bit in race trim, but we're starting up front. We got a great pit crew, and hopefully we can put that Stanley Toyota in victory lane.
So how do you beat them for your first win here at Watkins Glen in the Cup Series?
I think tomorrow is going to be a little bit of an adventure. You know, the new pavement, nobody knows how that's going to go deep into the runs with tire buildup. I think you know, the braking zones are pretty tough. You know, it's going to be nice and warm, so just got to stay up front, can't make any mistakes. But I love these road races. They're so much fun. I got to talk to Boris Said, who was basically my road racing coach to start, so that was cool today. And go to sleep tonight, get some good rest, and hopefully be very competitive tomorrow.
We love the excitement of these road courses as well. The tire and the new track combination, it looked pretty slick in qualifying. Are we going to see that all day?
It was real slick. That'd be nice if it was slick like that during the race. But I think as we run and as we get some rubber down, you know, these tires, Goodyear does such a good job building a durable tire. You know, I think it's just going to be a matter of tons of grip and managing that all day.
Good luck tomorrow. Carl Edwards sweeping the poles at the road courses this year, Marty.
Dave, Kyle Larson will start second, and yes, this is the same Kyle Larson I was talking to yesterday, and you were struggling with your race car. That qualifying run surprised you a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. Just super happy with all the effort that all the guys on the Target Chevy put in yesterday. I mean, we changed just about everything, I thought, yesterday, and finally got some grip there late in practice, and you know, still could use some more, but it was fun. I didn't think I'd end up second. I didn't even think I ran that good of a lap the first round. I missed the bus stop pretty bad. I think if I would have just, you know, not tried to break as deep that first run I had of the second round, probably could have went close to what Edwards ran there, but made a mistake and then made that second run and just butchered about every corner. So it was exciting though. It's always fun to qualify at the road courses, especially here because you're going so fast and you're on the edge, especially at the S's here. You know, with the repave, it's really slick. So, you know, fun day. Hopefully we can, you know, get the Target Chevy into victory lane tomorrow.
Coming to pit road looked fun too. A little spin there. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I messed up so many corners early. I should have just bailed, but I tried to make a good 6 and 7, and just got into the last corner pretty hard there and got loose, and was hoping I wasn't going to hit those, you know, barrels there, but I was able to keep it going straight and keep it fired up.
Little spin coming to pit road, didn't hurt him at all. Kyle Larson will start second tomorrow, Rick.
Pretty impressive for Carl Edwards with the sweep of poles. And now he'll start up front with Kyle Larson, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth in row 2. AJ Allmendinger. We always look to AJ and say this is one of his best opportunities to get to victory lane and potentially get into the chase.
Michael McDowell in row 6. Really good effort by that team.
Frustrated Martin Truex Jr. not in the top 12.
How about Cole Witt right there in row 11? It's an impressive lap for that young man.
Start outside of Jeff Gordon, Casey King, Greg Biffle behind them. Chris Buescher, David Reagan. They start in the same row. Chris Buescher again trying to break into the top 30 in points. David Reagan has that 30th spot. On back through the field, Paul Menard. Eric Almirola starting row 17. Backfield, Josh Wise and Landon Castle. An impressive run for Carl Edwards, Kyle Larson. They will start 1 and 2. We'll be back with more qualifying after this. NASCAR racing for Watkins Glen. Coming up next on CNBC, future stars of the sport. Racing the Xfinity Series. And tomorrow at 2 o'clock on USA Network, the Sprint Cup Series will take its turn on Watkins Glen International. Gorgeous area of the country. And earlier in the show, Parker Kligerman was right down on the track, kind of doing a track walk with us. Now, let's take a different perspective. We're going to do a helicopter ride around this track to give you a little bit better of an idea of how you get around the track.
And what a great shot. As you can see, going up the front straightaway, going into turn 1, you can see the 90-degree turn. This is all downhill, so you're downshifting into second gear. We see a lot of issues here. We can see the skid marks going into the wall, a very tight corner, and crazy on restart.
Yeah, that's actually the slowest part of the racetrack, the middle of turn 1. Now you start to climb the hill. You hit the bottom of the hill in turn 2. Heading up the S is a fast right-hander. Then you have to change direction. Back to the left. You see the tracks there. Get all the way against the curb. Heading over that blind crest into the fast last right-hander of the S's.
And you cannot see the back straightaway until about right here. Now you can see it, but even as you are on the back straightaway, you cannot see the inner loop until about this point. So now you can start to see the inner loop. Your braking zone is this caution light on the left. Just past that, you start to brake. You downshift. You want all 4 tires on the right curb, a little bit on the left, a little bit on this left, and all 4 on those right.
And now the long, sweeping downhill carousel. The corner seems to last forever. You have to be patient, stay against the curb, and power up into the second fastest straightaway, heading back towards the garage and the left-hand turn of turn 6.
Now you have to be setting up for this left-hand turn. Again, another 90-degree high-speed corner. This is the second fastest straightaway on the racetrack. Make this left, get way out to the right, jump over those curves, and then quickly get back to the left to set yourself up for the last right-hander coming to the start-finish line. All that's in second gear. You'll upshift into third just before the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's one of those road courses, Rick, that not only is it slippery with the new pavement, out of the groove, a lot of 90-degree corners, and just a lot of speed. It's all about momentum. If you make a mistake anywhere climbing the hill, you get beat all the way into the passing zone of the inner loop.
And this is the super speedway of road courses. You know, we think about Sonoma, how technical it is, tight corners. This racetrack, even its tight corners aren't as tight as Sonoma. It's a fast racetrack, 3 long straightaways and tons of speed.
As we're getting ready for the Xfinity race, a week ago it was Chris Buescher who pretty much shocked the NASCAR world getting a win. Is there anyone that could do that this week at the road course?
Well, let's just look at the top 10 in qualifying. We have the 42 of Kyle Larson, 31 of Ryan Newman, the 1 of Jamie Murray, and the 47 of AJ Allmendinger, all qualifying the top 10, all on that chase standings looking for a win. If one of those 4 names could jump into the win column, Chris Buescher gets into the top 30 in points, it's going to change the entire look of those chase standings.
The biggest impact would be Larson and Allmendinger because they're on the back half of that chase battle. The guys, if Chase Elliott, he would win the race, not that big of a deal because he's on the top part of it anyway. But the lower you are in that chase bracket, the bigger impact you have. But hey, what about Michael McDowell? He's sitting there in 11th. What if he pulled the upset up like we saw last week?
And Rick, the big issue is so many cars in the lead lap at a road course that all the way to the checkered flag, if you have issues on the last lap, you can lose 15, 20, 30 points. So even if it's not a win, there could be major points implications when it comes to the chase and the chase standings.
Every position worth a point. Coming up next, it's Xfinity Series Countdown to Green on CNBC. Then Xfinity Series Racing from Watkins Glen at 5 o'clock. The 2016 Rio Olympic Games continue on CNBC. Coming up next, it's Krista, Kyle, and DJ.